Because you are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the conscious awareness behind the thoughts. You are the person who is observing the thoughts as they go by. What is up? This is David, and today I want to talk to you about how to deal with negative emotions. And this is a continuation of the conversation we've had in the other video. And if you haven't seen that part one to this this idea, then go ahead and check that one out. So last time we talked about how to deal with emotions by taking massive action, by being proactive with it, right? And that was more of a Western perspective on things. In the West, we like to take action, massive action, right? So today I want to shift the perspective into more of an Eastern philosophy on more about acceptance and non-resistance and these type of philosophies. And so I first want to start off by saying that emotions are not our identity. So what that means is, when we feel a certain emotion, it doesn't mean that is who we are. But most of us think that is who we are. In fact, emotions, we don't have these kinds of emotions. We are actually doing these type of emotions. So an example is, we are not depressed, but we are actually doing depression. We're doing depression with our physiology. If I asked you to draw somebody who is very depressed and sad, how would you draw them? Like, you would draw them as like their body being down, their heads being down, and they are breathing very shallowly. They have a frown on their face. So we talked about last time on how our physiology affects our mental state, because it creates biochemistry inside of our bodies, right? So we are actually doing depression. We are not depressed in a sense. We shouldn't identify with these negative emotions. And so that leads me to the next little tidbit, which is, don't identify with the negative emotion. You want to try and create a space between you and the negative emotions that you are experiencing. And the way to view this is to view this from a perspective of an observer. Because you are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the conscious awareness behind the thoughts. You are the person who is observing the thoughts as they go by. And when you detach yourself from your thoughts and your feelings, it actually creates a space between you and the negative emotions, and you don't really quite feel it as deeply as you did when you identified with the negative emotions. All right? And that's not to try and escape from these emotions, by the way. It's not escapism. That can be very detrimental in the long term if you're trying to escape from every negative emotion. Remember, I said last time that it's healthy for human beings, our human psychology, to experience all emotions, the full spectrum of emotions, both negative and positive, right? And so there's this concept known as acceptance and non-resistance in Eastern philosophy. You don't try to run away from the negative emotions. You actually let in the negative emotions. You accept it, and there's no resistance to it. Because once you detach yourself, once you create that space between you and the emotions, you'll find out that this has a way weaker impact in the way that you are experiencing this negative emotion. And when you try to resist something, like, I don't want to feel sad, I want to stay away from being depressed, what that is doing is that's actually fueling the negative emotions even more. But when you go at it with the mindset of, okay, I'm gonna accept this feeling. There's this character here called David, and he is experiencing this feeling called sadness. You know what? Let's let him feel the feeling of sadness. Let's accept this thing. When you view it from that frame, then sadness becomes a positive thing, right? So you are looking at it from a positive angle rather than resisting it, which is a negative angle. It makes you feel even worse. So it's creating that space again from the negative emotion and your conscious awareness. And so this is known as the concept of acceptance and non-resistance. You're accepting the negative emotions and you are letting it take its time and its space. And so you're not resisting it. You're like, okay, I'm going to feel a little sad for now. I'm going to feel a little sad. And eventually it's going to go away. And you know this. You've had a time where you were really, really sad or depressed. You had a breakup. But some time goes by and the negative emotions, they go away, right? And when you go at it with that mindset, it will become a lot easier to deal with these negative emotions. So once again, it's acceptance, it's non-resistance, and it's creating space between you and those negative emotions. You are the conscious awareness of the negative emotions. You don't identify with these emotions. And if you want a deeper understanding of the stuff, there is a book I recommend, or there's a teacher I would recommend, and his name is Eckhart Tolle. And he has a book called The Power of Now and one other one called The New Earth. And if you want to check those out for a deeper understanding of this, then I would recommend you to do that. So that is it. I hope you found some value out of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.